You'll learn how to make this easy game using Unity. The point of doing this game is that you start to understand Unity and the logic you need to actually create games. Making these types of easy and not complex game is one of the best ways in which you can start learning a game engine such as Unity. I will explain everything that I do in detail, so don't worry if this is your first time making a game, because I am sure you will be able to complete this project. Firstly, we have to download Unity Hub. In order to do this, you just have to search download Unity in Google. You will enter the official website of the Unity store. You're going to scroll down just a little bit, you're going to accept the terms, and then you're going to download the Unity Hub. Now Unity Hub will start downloading and you will have to wait until it's finished. Then you just open the executable file and install Unity Hub. It isn't difficult, you just have to press accept, 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 and that's all. This is the user interface of Unity Hub. So now we have to install actually the Unity engine in order to start programming. To do that, you are going to go to the installs section, then you're going to press where it says install editor in the top right part, and then you're going to install any version you would like. Here you will just download the version that says recommended version. You're going to press install, and here you will also press install. In this project I'm going to be using this version of Unity, but any version of Unity will work. Now let's go to the project section. Probably you will have nothing here because these are my projects. In order to create one, you're going to click where it says new project. Then here we're going to create a 2D project. We're going to give it a name, for example clicker. You will select your location of your preference and then you will click where it says create project. Now Unity is creating and opening our project. Now we are inside Unity. I'm going to quickly explain some things about Unity. Firstly, we have the scene window. This is where we are going to put all of our things and we are going to be able to preview all our stuff. Here we have our hierarchy window. This is where we are going to create all of our game objects. As you can see, for example, we have the default camera of Unity. And talking about cameras and game objects, you can see here the inspector window. This is a window from which we can add components, we can change the properties of our game objects. Then we also have the project window. We just have our files of the project, and maybe you also have the console window. The console is used, for example, to detect warnings, errors, and even we can print things here. If you can't see any of these windows, you can go to window and then you will have here, for example, in general, you will have scene, game, inspector, hierarchy, project, console. These are the most used windows. Okay, so now let's start with the game. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the game window. We can select here resolution for our game. In this case, you can select any resolution you like. For example, you have here full HD or anything you want. I will use a vertical resolution. For example, I have this one here. If you want to add yours, you click the symbol here and you give it a name and a width and a height. As you can see, the background color, I don't like the background color, so in order to change it, I'm going to select the main camera, and here in background I'm able to change the background. You can see here I have a window, main camera, and if I change the color, okay, I can preview the changes. So I'm probably going to select something like this. Now I'm going to create the square of the player. To do that, I'm going to right click on the hierarchy window, to the objects, sprites, and then I'm going to select square, and I'm going to rename it to something like player. Also, I'm going to center it here in the transform component. Here you see position X and Y, so if you put 0, 0, you see it's the center of our screen. Inside my assets folder, I'm going to create other folder. So I'm going to right click, create folder, and this folder will be my scripts folder. If you don't know what a script is in programming, a script is a file in which we are going to store, in which we are going to write our code. So then inside this scripts folder, I'm going to again right click, create C# script, so that we have our script. And because this is going to be the script of the player, I'm going to name after it. So player. You will see this window, reload script assemblies. This is just compilating our script. And then you're going to drag and drop your player script inside the player. Now, in order to open these C# scripts, you're going to need any code editor of your choice. I recommend you to use Visual Studio Code, so you just can search for it in Google. Then you enter the first link and you can just download it. Again, the download is very easy. And then to integrate it with Unity, go to Edit, Preferences, External Tools, External Script Editor. You should be able to select Visual Studio Code, and then you're ready to go. Now let's just double click this player script, and you have your Visual Studio Code opened. Probably here you will have some functions and some other things here. Probably something like that with these two functions, the start and the update function. Also, you will have some comments here, and here in the namespaces you will also have two namespaces. Okay, so you can leave the script as it is. You don't have to change anything, because I just changed the template of the script, but it will work as well. So the first thing we are going to do is to detect when we click on the player. So in order to detect that, I'm going to call a function that is called onMouseUp. You can see here a summary. onMouseUp is called when the user has released the mouse button. So when we release the click, this function will be called. Something about functions in C# is that whenever you want to create a function, the first thing you have to write is which type of data is going to return. Maybe it's difficult to understand if you are a beginner, but you have to put, in this case, void, because it's not going to return anything. Then you're going to put the name of your function, for example my function, and then the braces or parentheses, and then these other symbols. I don't know how they are called. So now everything you write inside here will be your function. Now, what I'm going to do when we release the mouse from our player is just going to print a message. Okay, for example, I'm going to put print mouse released, for example. Also, at the end of every line of code, you have to put this symbol as well. Other thing we must do is to select the player and add the component of a box collider 2D, and you will see that a green outline is generated if we press this edit collider. So this is our collider. If we press this green thing, our onMouseUp function will be called. So for example, if I make this a little bit bigger, for example with the size here 2 and 2, you can see that the collider is bigger. If I were you, I would just leave it as default because it will work just fine. Now we can just try out our game and let's see what happens. You can see if I click in our console window, you will have printed our mouse release message. Now what we will need is a score variable. So in order to create a variable, firstly you will say if this is going to be a private or a public variable. Private variables can only be managed in this script, but public functions can be changed in other scripts. As we just want our variable to be changed in this script, I'm going to call it as a private. Then we're going to put the type of variable we want. In this case, I'm going to create as an int, because integers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Then I'm going to put the name of my variable. In this case, I'm going to put score. Then in my onMouseUp function, I'm going to increase by 1 this variable by doing this. If you don't really understand this plus equals icon, it's the same as saying score equals score plus 1. It's the same thing, but in most cases this is written as this. Instead of printing mouse release, I'm going to print the value of my variable. Coming back again to Unity, if we play, you're going to see that when we release the mouse, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So now we have our score system finished. We are going to need other variable. This as well is going to be a private int, but in this time this will be called level because this is the variable that will manage the levels. I'm going to delete this print because it's useless right now. And now I'm going to create a conditional. Conditionals are used with the keyword if, and then inside here we're going to put a condition that if this condition is true, some code will be executed. Now what we are going to write here is if our score is more or equals than level, we are going to do something here. This means that if the level is completed, we are going to increase the level variable because the level was successfully completed, and then I'm going to reset the score again to 0. I would like to see these two variables in my inspector. In order to do that, I'm going to put a space, and then here I'm going to write serialize field again between these symbols. I don't know how they are called, and again I'm going to put here serialize field as well. Now you can see that in my player I can see both variables. We are going to call other function in our script. This is called the start function. I'm going to actually put the summary so that we can read it together. Start is called on the frame when a script is enabled just before any of the updates method is called the first time. This means that when we press the play button, this start function is called. So let's say this is like a marker or an indicator that the game has started. So I'm going to put this level variable in 1 because the first level of our game we want it to be the first one, the level 1. If we start playing and select our player, seeing our variables, you can see we are in level 1 and our score is 0. If we click where our player is, you can see score 0, level 1. Why? Because our score was 1. So in this case, score was 1 because we added 1 here. Then it went through this conditional and said, okay, score, in this case 1, is more or equals to level. Remember, 1 is more or equals to 1. Yes, it is. So these other two lines of code are called. The level is now 2 and the score is restarted. Now we can continue. In this case, score 1 if we click, and then score 2. The score is resetted again to 0 and the level now is 3. We can continue 1 2 3 level 4, 1 2 3 4 level 5, 1 2 3 4 5 level 6. This is working, but if you want to make a user interface and actually show with text your score and your level and everything, you will have to right click UI. You will create a new canvas. Canvas are game objects in which you put all your UI elements. For example, you can create text, you can create buttons. These are the two most used. So in this case, I'm just going to create a new text. I'm going to rename it to level text. I'm going to center this text horizontally and vertically. I'm going to change the text to level. In this case, as the first level is 1, I'm going to put level 1. I'm going to also change the color to white. I'm going to turn on best fit and the max size. I'm going to put like 300, for example. and I'm going to make this box bigger. You can see if I wanted to make bigger, it's not like a proportional resizing. So if you want it to be proportional, you're going, as you drag, you're going to hold the shift key so that you can see now it's proportional. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, maybe like that is okay. Then I'm going to just position it whenever I want. Maybe like this should be okay. Yes. Now we will need other script to manage this level text game object. So we're going to put a new C# script, level text. I'm going to call it level text. We are going to wait until it compiles. Now we are going to drag and drop it inside our level text game object. Now I'm going to create a new public. Actually, I'm going to create a new serialized field so that it can be seen in the inspector, and I'm going to put that it's going to be a private variable. Also, as we are going to change the text of an UI element, you will need to import our Unity engine .ui namespace. So you just write this code in this part of the script. Now you will be able to here modify a text. In this case, this variable, I'm going to call it level text. I'm going to create another public void function. This will be called set level text. Okay, I'm going to use actually my level text variable. I'm going to modify the text because we are grabbing this text component, and you can see we have here a lot of properties. We can change the text, the character, the paragraph, the color, the material. We have a lot of things. So we want to modify the text, and I'm going to put text equals level. I'm going to leave an empty space here, a plus icon, and here I'm going to request a parameter of type int, and I'm going to call it level. I'm going to explain that in a second. Plus level. So what we are doing here is assigning a new text. We put level, we put then a space so that it's a space between the text level and the actual level, and this parameter of int level. Every time we call this variable, we will have to put a parameter that will be used as our level. You will see it better in a second when we call this function. That's exactly what we are going to do now. I'm going to create a new serialized field variable. Serialized field private. In this case, this must be a variable of type of the same name that our script is. So my script is called level text, so it must be a level text type of variable, and I'm going to call it level text script because it is the script. In Unity, I'm going to select the player, and in this in the inspector, I'm going to drag and drop my level text. So now you can see we have the script we have assigned to it earlier. Right here in this conditional is where I'm going to call this function we created here, and how you may be asking, okay, as this is a public function, I explained to you before that what is public can be called wherever we want. So to call it, it's very simple. We just need to make a reference to our script which has the public function, in this case the level text. This is the reference we have to the script. So now we call this script, and what do we want to do with this script? Call that function set level text. But here we have to put, as you can see, it's requesting to put an int, a variable of type int. So in this case will be level because it requires the level. Also here in our Unity, We're going to drag and drop our level text into level text script so that we grab the text. Now this should be working perfectly. I'm going to select the player so that I can see the score here, because we don't currently have a score counter. As you can see, if I press once, we are in level 2 now. 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5. So everything is working fine. Now I'm going to do something similar, but now with the score counter. I'm going to duplicate this level text. You can press Ctrl D, or you can also right click it and then you can click here duplicate. I'm going to call it score text. Also I'm going to move it up a little bit, so here I'm going to put 222 in the position Y. I'm going to delete the component of level text because we don't want that script. I'm going to create a new one, and the text will be touches left. Actually this game object should be called, so I'm going to put touches left text, and then in the text I'm going to put one touch left. We will need other scripts, so let's quickly create it and call it touches left text. Also we have to assign it. As we have done in our level text script, we're going to need a reference to our text, so we are just going to import the libraries of Unity engine.ui so that we can manage UI elements. I'm going to create a new serialized field of type private text, and this is going to be called touches left text, but with a T in lowercase. Again, we're going to need a new public function. This will be called set touches left text. We're going to need an int. I'm going to call it touches left. If it wasn't clear, in our parameters we can put any name we want. It's not necessary to put touches left. Now inside this function, I'm going to change our text of touches left text dot text will be equals to touches left. So this is the parameter we are going to pass, plus well, I'm going to leave an empty space so that we have a space touches left. So I believe this touches left text is all right. We have to create another Silverlights field variable in order to grab our touches left text script. So Silverlights field private touches left text script. You clearly see this is just a reference as we have done here. So you just can assign this variable by drag and dropping touches left text outside of our conditional. I'm going to call our script of touches left text script dot set touches left text. We can call this function because it is public. Then here it's requesting me to put a parameter, the touches left. So in order to grab our touches left, we just have to put level minus score. By doing this, you will get how many touches we have left. Remember to here on our touches left game object to drag and drop it in the script. Now when we play, we are able to see that the project is working just fine. You can see we have 6 touches left and we are on level 6, so it's perfectly fine. 5 4 3 2 1, and when I press, level 7 is here. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave it on the comments. I am always answering your questions. Please subscribe for more Unity content. Maybe we could even add more things to this game, but only if you right here subscribe and like the video. See you on the next one. Bye bye.